I've joined this year's GMTK Game Jam. I entered as this would be a good way to show how I have improved so far. But first, let's check how much time we got left. Well, that's not good. But first, I should explain what happened. A few months ago, my laptop stopped charging, preventing me from using it once its battery died. It was until 1.5 days into the game jam that it actually started working again, and it was getting late by then. And now we are here. But enough with the excuses, there is still more than half of the game jam to go. But seeing the time that I had left being so little, I could not rely on Unity. As I am still not experienced on the engine, which could lead to time being wasted. But I did remember of an engine named GDevelop, which labeled itself as the fastest, easiest way to create your game. And with the time being so little, I decided that this would be my best option to make an actual game. So here I was with 2 days, no ideas, and a new game engine to learn. What did I do? Well, first things first, I needed an idea. An idea that centered around the jam's theme, loop. And after a bit of brainstorming, I got my idea. The game will be a platformer where the obstacles and traps will be going in a loop, and the player has to turn off the switch to stop a certain obstacle. After all the switches have been pressed, all the obstacles will stop and an exit will appear for the player to run through. With just under 2 days left and the idea in mind, I began to make the game. I began by making the pixel art for the ground. For this, I used Piskel, as it is easy to apply into GDevelop. It could have been better, but graphics were not my top priority, even if it was the first thing I was doing. I just began with what I thought was the easiest thing to do, as it seemed simpler than to learn a new game engine. After I finished making the art for the ground, I focused on the switch that the player has to turn off. I then made a spike that the player can die to. It took me some time to find a good way to add depth to the spike, but it worked out in the end. I was especially proud of this one, very simple but effective. I then imported all of this into the game, and after I spent some time messing around with the visual scripting, I made the game slightly work. The main issue I encountered was that I was unaware of how to make the spike move from side to side, but I left that for later. And here is the game currently. It's a buggy mess, but I understand the vision more clearly now. I then went to get something to eat and relaxed for a bit. After my insanely long break, I went to make more pixel art. This time it was for the exit door, which would appear after all the switches have been pressed. I then finally made the character. I focused on this last as I had no idea as to what to make the player be. And after some thought, I decided to make it an hourglass to put more emphasis on the loop theme. After some more visual scripting and an extension that I found which resolved my issue of the spike moving side to side, the game was finally functioning as intended. It was getting late by now, so I went to bed and planned to continue when I get up. When the next day came and I got on my laptop again, I got back to Piskel to draw one more asset for the game. The asset was going to be a border for the player, so they cannot go out of bounds. And I was pretty proud of the result. After reopening the project, I thought to make more use of the border, so I made the entrance and exit invisible and put them at the edge of both sides of the game. This was to make it so if the player would reach the end of the stage without turning off all the switches, they would loop back to the start. I then spent the rest of the time that I had to make the levels. However, I only had the time to make 5 levels as it was getting late again, and I would be too busy on the next day to continue to improve or expand the game. And this is the final result. Unfortunately, it is insanely buggy, unfinished and short due to the restriction that I had on time, but this will have to do. The jam was officially over, and the voting stage has ended. So, how did I do? Well, as expected, not very good. A lackluster and unfinished game can only get so far. But I was still happy that I was able to participate. Since this was my first game jam, I was able to learn that I should still plan out what I should be doing, no matter how much time it makes. Because I did many things apart and out of order that had wasted time, such as making the exit and entrance sprites, just to not make them visible in the end. I also got comments from some of the people who played the game. And I am grateful that they played the game and for all the feedback that they gave back to me. Overall, except from the fact that I had barely over a day to make a game, I was able to learn from this experience.